All right, and we are live. Thank you for joining us today. We are going to be, usually we do a testimonial, and I love testimonials. Those are some of the things that help me with my journey is listening to testimonials periodically. But today we are going to switch it up a little bit, and we are going to be visiting the channel YouTube channel called Unplugem. And this channel is basically a truth teller channel. And the reason why we're gonna be going over this is because we are to be putting God before we put anything else. So we're gonna go over how to discern some of the things that we maybe take for granted or think that they're not. It's not that big of a deal. And so we're gonna look over this man of God's video. His name is Brother Theo, and he runs this YouTube channel called Unplugem. Now, he's been doing this channel for a very long time. And I don't think that he gets as much credit as he should. A lot of people have, like, their truthers, but he's one that is not just a truther, but he's also a Christian. And in this community, in the truther community, it's hard to find both like devout Christians, and he is definitely both. So I wanted to go over his video, and we're going to do some commentary about it. Now we're going to be going over a music artist called the Shy Lights. The Shy Lights predate my knowing and understanding of the music, but the point is that this same practice is still being used today, and we need to understand really the bedrock of what these artists are coming from, like where they're coming from, why they're doing the things that they're doing, so that when we, because the intent is everything. Intent is a big deal. If you don't mean to do something, that's one thing, but if you do intend to do something, the power is different. The the connection is different from when you receive these types of messages, or impart, if something is imparted to you. So we're going to go over this video. And again, his name is Brother Theo. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to get into the video. All right. Let's see here. All right. So I've already queued this up like to like 27 minutes. So he's been talking a little bit, and I'm going to speed it up to like 1.25. But he's already been talking, and so what's happening here is someone from back during this time. Now this is around like the early, I think, maybe 60s, 70s. And this person, I guess this person, the individual that was in this group called the Shy Lights, had multiple children, and they were all in paternity court trying to figure out how to divvy up like what was left of um, you know the estate. So after we get off of that, we're going to get into a book that one of the children from around that time were able to witness, just being behind the scenes, something that wasn't so um, in your face. So we're going to go ahead and get into that now.
When your dad's a big R&B soul superstar. Now, I asked ChatGPT real quick to just kind of bring me up to speed. The Shy Lights were a highly successful soul group from the 1960s and 1970s. I know they were called the Highlights, and then they figured out a way to give Chicago, their hometown, some props. So then they called themselves the Shy Lights. They were known for their smooth harmonies and romantic ballads. Some of their biggest selling songs include, like I said, "Oh Girl," and "Oh, Have You Seen Her?" That'd be our biggest song, sampled by MC Hammer. "Have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her?" And then Soulful Strut.
So I do know that song, the MC Hammer song. I love that song actually.
That's a breakbeat that people use. I'm pretty stoned out of my mind. And "Are You My Woman?" So those would be their top five biggest selling, well, some of their biggest selling songs. So let's go to, and these would be the songs that we're going to look to first for songwriter secret songs, unless you have a suggestion. Like Big Sister Elaine, um, who did send in a suggestion. and we'll have to pull it in, and be sure and look at that when we actually do go through the songs. Tonight we're not going to go through the songs. We're just going to check out this overview. Well, we're going to check out this book and do an overview of Inside the Shy Lights music. So let us begin. Are you ready? Tucked in? Well, I don't know. We may need the screen, so we'll leave it like it is. Maybe we'll need the screen. Might have to pull up something. Okay, so we might as well start from the very top because it's not much. Okay, dedication. I dedicate this book to the legendary exploited entertainers in our families who struggle to stop legacy abuse throughout entertainment music. I would also like to dedicate this book to my father, Creedale Jones, from the Shy Lights, and his wife and widow, Deborah Jones, my mother. To all those who believe in justice, equality, honesty, integrity, and great entertainment, with unity and reform, we can work together for a brighter tomorrow and a rewarding future. An overview of the Shy Lights and music. The way we look and the talents we have are God given. However, does not guarantee an easy route. To make a mark in a world where hundreds of thousands of talented individuals strive to shine, indeed, it takes determination and hard work to be amongst the few who are remembered for centuries. My father, Creedale Red Jones. Yeah, let's get a look at him in particular. Creedale Red Jones. Creedale. We've been making up names for a long time. It's not new. Creedale Jones, Shylights. It's not new. Y'all young peoples, don't let your elders shame you about their names. We've been doing this a long time. Okay, there he is. There he is back in the day. Mhm. All right. He says, my father, Creedale Red Jones, was amongst the few who managed to cast a solid impression on the music industry. Even though he lived a life different from what he deserved, his contribution to the music world will never be forgotten. It all started in 1959. I'm telling y'all, he about to kick right into it. Get your snacks. Get some of that good popping corn. Here we go. It all started in 1959 in his final year as a musician. He, along with my mother, Deborah Jones, and friends, Robert Lester and Marshall Thompson, performed in a band that went by the name of the Shy Lights. Together, the band members attended Hyde Park High School in Chicago, Illinois. The band produced numerous songs that locked spots in the top 10, hit top singles, and the Billboard Hot Chart with Robert Lester and Eugene Records was originally named Chanteurs, French for singers, which was renamed shortly after my father and Marshall Thompson joined. Originally, Marshall and my father were in the group Desideros. Its new name was the Highlights. Unfortunately, the name had to be changed again because it turned out that the Highlights was already registered to someone else. The band members found a way of recognizing their hometown and changed it to the Shy Lights. Marshall was responsible for managing the group. Fellow group member Eugene Records. Isn't it something to have the last name Records and to end up in the record business? That's interesting. You know, there are those who say that the synagogue, well, those who say that the children of Satan, like they call him the father of lies, so he has children, that his children are already pre-selected. But that would take away from the idea of us having free will and of someone being able to save or to have their soul saved, you know, regardless of anything outside of blaspheming the Holy Spirit.
I wonder though, like with that point right there, that some people are marked to be like a child of Satan. Um, like in my opinion, I do think that maybe people are more leaning towards that when they, just based off of how they grew up. But I don't know if I would say that. I think I agree with him on that. I don't think that people all come out of, out of the womb just a spawn. You know what I mean? Now, in some circles, some children from birth are dedicated to sex and Satan and just different demonic circles, but that's not how God sends them out here. right? So I do believe that they all children are sent out here pure, but they are born into a world of sin. And unfortunately, there are so many people who have the worst intentions for people, even babies. I just don't understand why. Like, what did a little bitty, beautiful, innocent baby do to you? It just blows my mind. Like, how could you hurt this little bitty, cute, little innocent little human? This little bitty human. It sucks, but this is happening a lot in this world today, especially with trafficking, and especially this has been happening for a long time. I would love to get into some of that stuff, but some of these things go on in the world, in the world, because Christians turn a blind eye and they say, "Oh, well, that's none of my business. You can, you do what you know. That's supposed to be our business. The babies are supposed to be our business, whether we have them or not, whether we birth them or not, or whether we produce them, in this world or not. We're still supposed to protect them. If we see that parents are evil to their children, we're supposed to step up and help protect those children." But anyway, we're going to get into it, and you'll see why I'm talking about the children. But the children are being backed into a corner because the parents are cowards on this planet. And I want to get into more stuff like this, because when we shun away from stuff like this, when we act like it doesn't matter that people practice these kinds of things, and it doesn't matter because it's just their own lives. It's not just their lives, though. These types of people, do you think that these are selfish religions, unsustainable religions? Do you think that they're in it just for themselves? No, they're in it to destroy people's lives. And that includes your life and children's lives. So let's continue, though.
So we had to make room for all the scripture to fit. But I do think that it's interesting that sometimes the names that people are given end up having to do with the lives that they end up living. So the group with Robert Lester and Eugene Records was originally called named the Chanteurs. Okay, its new name was the Highlights. Okay, Highlights was already registered to somebody. So the members were recognizing their hometown, changed it to the Shylights. Marshall was responsible for managing the group. Fellow group member Eugene Records wrote several songs, and my father was the bass baritone singer. Ba 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 boom. Although Eugene wrote the majority of the songs, there were several others that the group wrote together. Let me see what Eugene Records look like. La 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 means I love you. Okay, there you go. It's Eugene Record, man. Record ain't no S at the end. Come on, sucker. Jive time, sucker. All right, here we go. All right. Eugene wrote the majority of the songs as the songwriter. There were several others that the group wrote together. Got to put some faces with these peoples. Undisputedly, the Shylights ruled the R&B industry for decades. Well, there'd be a lot of spinning around groups that would sha la 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 deny that. So here we go. Let Me Be the Man My Daddy was the first song that served to be the band's claim to fame. The group had a long list of singles that were sung and enjoyed by fans of R&B music. The first song that made it to the top hit charts was Give More Power to the People. Oh, Girl was their second single, selling over 3 million copies. And the list just goes on and on. Hold on one second, let me blow my nose. All right, you there? You still there? You there? You there? All right, let's see. It says in 1968. Wait a minute, hold on. Old Girl was their second single, selling over 3 million copies, and the list just goes on and on. In 1968, the Shylights signed a contract with Brunswick Records. Now, Wick sometimes, sometimes has to do with witch. Wiccan and witch uh, share a direct etymological connection. Well, let's just look at the logo real quick if we can, because a lot of times that can help you, man. Brunswick Records. It sounds familiar. I can't picture it in my head. The label. Let's look at it. Oh, well, there would be a little pentagram there to say, well, maybe you're not so far off, Mr. Jackson. Maybe you're not. Anyway, okay, so they signed a contract with Brunswick Records, and the songs they produced
Listen, he is very animated in the way that he presents stuff. It's funny.
under this label took them to new heights of popularity, which means here they come. After 8 years later, in 1978, my father began having some issues being part of the band. In no particular order, this book will outline the different issues and problems faced not only by my father, but by the Shy Lights music group, my family, and myself as well. What could have been that was bothering old Credell? The rehearsal, page 9. One day, the Jackson Five came to our house for a quote unquote rehearsal. That's what they called it. They were asked to go into the house to pick my dad up and practice a while before the world tour with the Shy Lights. So Shy Lights and the Jackson Five world tour. I don't remember that. Jackson Five, and Shy Lights. I mean, somebody had to open. No Shade, world tour. Didn't know about that. 1978. The Jackson Five performed at the Chicago Chaparral Lounge. That's a lounge. That ain't no world tour. In Chicago with the Shy Lights headlining. Okay, so they worked together. We can see that much. Let's see. They've had other tours. Okay. Let me see. Well, we can do it like this. Say 1978. Well, let's not stop the story because we're almost there. Believe it or not. So let's assume that they had this tour. We're gonna look it up. We're gonna check it out. So they were asked to go into the house to pick my dad up. His dad, remember, is Credell of the Shy Lights. That's old Credell right there, Red. They called him Red because he was a little lightish. We call lightish ones. Okay, for folks that don't know about it, now you know. Okay, says all 5 members. Okay, to pick up my dad in practice style before the world tour with the Shy Lights. Off Marlon and Tito were there. That's 5. That's 5 right there. Randy, Jermaine, Jackie, Marlon, and Tito were there. They arrived together in a black limousine while Michael arrived in a separate one. Now, at this time, I'm imagining that this was when Michael was with them and they were grown and toured together. Okay. Okay. It says, I believe. Okay, it says they parked in front of our house, walked in and began to talk about how they were going to produce this concert and what they needed to make it a memorable one. $25,000 up front and told him he would give him the rest later. The next day, I remember seeing the Jacksons going downstairs to do a rehearsal for the concert. They even had dinner at our house. During the session, my sisters and I, when we're 9, 6, and I were 5, so when they were 9, 6, and I was 5. Okay, here goes. During the session, my sisters and I, when they were 9 and 6, and I was 5, we were brought down to the entertainment room located in the bottom basement of our house. My mother was down there at first, but she ended up going upstairs. She didn't want to see it. That's my side. All 4 members of the Shy Lights, including my dad, Marshall Thompson, Eugene Record, and Robert Lester were there, along with the owner of Brunswick Records, Nathan Trenopole. Also, there was Joe Jackson, Each of the Jackson Five, including Randy, Jermaine, Jackie, Marlon, and Tito, and Michael. None of the others caught our attention as much as the new figure, whom none of us recognized, who came in with Nat. Nat Trinople. Now, he spelled his name a different way before. And I noticed that because I wanted to look him up. If we go back to Brunswick Records and we go, well, let's duplicate this. And then let's go to all. And then we can find founder. Okay, that's a long time ago. Well, let's just put his name in. I think this was someone in management because I think he named him earlier. Okay, here he is, Nat Tarnopol. Let's see, Nat Tarnopol. He played a vital role in producing and shaping R&B music throughout the 1960s. He was an American record producer, okay? And he served as the president of Brunswick Records, okay? So that actually pans out. See? Check that out. Y'all see that? So that pans out. And guess what? He was born in Detroit, Michigan, oddly enough. Interesting. Perhaps we should know about this man. Here he is at Bell Sound Studios in 19. Okay, so let's move on. So none of the others caught the attention. Nobody caught their attention as much as the new figure, whom none of the kids recognized, who came in Nat, who the kids did recognize. It was a priest dressed in a satanic black robe with a hood that covered his face, the downstairs that are connected to it. The main room had a pool table and bar, while the other two rooms were simply sitting rooms. There was also a small half bathroom to the side. As I walked into one of the sitting rooms.
So we're going to listen to this for just a few more minutes, and then we're going to get back to the rest of this. I don't know if you can see that, but this is like over 2 hours long. So I want to get to the whole part of it, but we're just going to get to just a couple of just a little bit more. And then we'll pick up
these things on YouTube. They just demonetize you.
And then we'll pick up the rest tomorrow.
We already on that status, so I might as well be able to say it, but I'm going to say it carefully. And also, we don't want to trigger anyone. So he says, as he walked into one of the sitting rooms, he saw his sister being bent over the table and R-worded by Marshall Thompson from behind while Joe Jackson pinned her down. Joe Jackson is the Jackson family patriarch. Once he finished, now this is something, see, you putting, this is something that you could sue for if it was not true. Now, a lot of times they say that when they write these tell-alls and the people don't sue, it's because a lawsuit may bring out certain details that would actually lend credibility to the story that's being told by the victim. So that's why a lot of times when these victims make those horrendous accusations like Little Rod made and Cassie made concerning the diddler, a lot of times when that happens, the accused does not want to fight it because fighting it would only draw out more things, draw out more details. But here we have Marshall Thompson, American singer and musician from the Chi-Lites. Here he is. He's got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He wrote a book about it. Last Man Standing, Chi-Lites, Marshall Thompson. Interesting. So he says that his sister was being violated by Marshall Thompson from behind while Joe Jackson pinned her down. Once he finished, Marshall got up and then began to hold my sister down by her shoulders while Joe Jackson then began to savagely R her from the front. The other Jackson 5 members and the Chi-Lites musicians were in the loop. In other words, they were aware of what was going on in the entertainment room, waiting right next to this room we were in. I tried to stop them, but I was held down by the Jackson 5 members. Get him, Tito. I'm sorry. Get off my sister. Get off my sister. But of course, she was too little. And brought my sister into the main entertainment room where a satanic pentagram was drawn on the floor in white chalk. Does he mean like this one? Does he mean like this one? Does he mean like this one? Being drawn on the floor in white chalk? Something like that. A little taste like that. Okay. Interesting. So he says,
yeah, okay, you guys, look, I don't like particularly having that on the screen, so I'm just going to remove it until he's done. And this is what I was talking about earlier. This is the how children's lives are ruined through this occult practice. And this is where this is what witches practice. And this is, I hate when I hear people say witchcraft ain't bad. I feel like that's so irresponsible. Witchcraft is such a selfish religion. It's an unsustainable religion. It's an unsustainable use of your time, and it's blasphemous towards God. You're definitely not going to get anywhere where you need to be in life. Not anywhere where near God you're not. But when he's going to start to talk about how they did this to this family's child, this child that's talking at the time he was a child, but this is what he's remembering now. This is very traumatic for him. So I understand how he can remember something like this, because this isn't something that happened to him probably every day, and he probably remembers the first time that it happened because of how how he's describing it as something very terrifying to have to sit there and watch his sister go through, and then he himself go through, and his dad, his mom and dad are involved. So he feels unprotected, alone, lonely, scared, uh, like he's in trouble, like he doesn't have anybody, very lonely. I mean, I can, all of those feelings compounded, and your parents are in on it. I mean, I can't even imagine. But we'll leave it off right here, and then we'll pick it up tomorrow where we'll finish the rest of the Songwriter's Secret, where we're going to get into the Shy Lights, their music, and how they were able to get to some level of success. And um, I will see you guys tomorrow. All right. See you guys later. Bye.